Man, I'll tell you what, family, it sure can be crazy, can it? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Rosario, the first time film directorial effort from Felipe Vargas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this movie Rosario is about a young woman named Rosario who's played by Emeraude Toubia. It's a film about a woman who basically gets a call as she's at work about her grandmother on her mom's side who just recently passed away. Well, she hasn't been close with her mother's side, so therefore she kind of has neglected her grandmother. But when she goes to the apartment of her grandmother, she comes to find out that there is more than meets the eye. There is stuff involving ancestral magic, of course, the occultism and stuff like that. And she becomes embroiled and becomes kind of tormented by possible demons inside her grandmother's soul, which leads to, of course, revelations, which I won't spoil. But this is also a movie that stars David Dastmalchian, of course, who is the neighbor next door. It also has José Zúñiga, who plays, of course, the father, and Paul Ben Victor, who plays of course, the attendant of the apartment complex. And it's a horror film that's in the vein of like an Evil Dead or a Drag Me to Hell, a Sam Raimi type-esque film, where it has a lot of disgusting body horror elements that kind of make the movie very visceral. And so she has to find a way to stop this demonic possession and this demonic situation from happening or continuing. So it deals with, like I said, books and occultism and stuff like that. So there you go. So when watching this movie, which I just learned about like a week ago, to be fairly honest, this is definitely a movie that is very highly inspired by the Sam Raimi kind of oeuvre when it comes to like the nature of grief, the nature of like visceral kind of horror when it comes to like body horror and stuff like that. It's a very, taking the metaphors of like, family and, spiritual, religion and how we view when we kind of fall apart from our family, and it kind of puts it into a horror aspect. But it's also a movie that, is very close to the vest when it comes to its spiritual nature of like, dealing with Spanish culture and stuff like that. So I watched the trailer before I requested this movie, and I thought it looked pretty good, to be fairly honest. It actually had a trailer from Until Dawn, which made it even more exciting because I hadn't seen it since before this review. That said, I was looking forward to seeing this movie because they sent me a screener, all that good stuff. So that leads to my honest review of this movie. I found it quite a great horror film. It's a fun little horror film. It's a horror film that you see every once in a while where it actually uses like physical horror elements. It doesn't use any CGI. It finds ways to be creative. And, Felipe Vargas, for his first film, does a really fantastic job of creating a very great atmosphere that feels very kind of culturally relevant. I love the idea that this is a, Hispanic nature. I love the idea that it deals with like family grief. I love the idea that this movie really takes a body horror element situation and kind of makes it its own thing while being an homage to a Sam Raimi type of film or like a David Cronenberg film where it has a lot of great messaging, which horror films can do and do really well more than any genre in the market. Is they can take, family dynamics, and they can take, the idea of falling apart as loved ones do, and take the point of like physical harm and, just harm in general when it comes to like our sensibilities and sense of self, and moving into a very kind of chaotic visual experience. And there are moments in this movie where it's gross, it's disgusting, but that's what life is. It's gross and disgusting and crazy and sad and, heartfelt and, happiness. And that's what this movie is doing in spades. And I think Emeraude Toubia is doing a really nice job as the main actress in this movie. She has to carry this movie on her shoulders. She has like David Dastmalchian for a few minutes in this movie, and of course José Zúñiga, who she talks on her phone, who's her father and stuff like that. But this is a one-woman show, and it's really well put together. It feels like it's paced really well. It has all its meat on the bone. There's no fat or anything in this movie, and it really is a fun little visceral body horror experience, and I really appreciate that. I think some of the gross out moments are really cool. I think they are really fun to watch. They take, the idea of like how your body transforms throughout the years and how, when we die, what that is like. It's a very disgusting experience. And I found this movie on all levels to be just such a satisfying horror film, and really like one of the better horror films I've seen this year so far. And one of the nice things is because this is set on like a one location set, I think it really is a cool thing. And on top of everything, it takes place during a snowstorm. So that also like like trying to wait for the ambulance to come and stuff like that, and trying to deal with the fact that you're finding more and more information that you may not like about your relatives. And it really is a movie just about the grief and the nature of grief, and how we explore the nature of how it like encompasses us, and how the things we like experience about our family, especially when we have falling outs, how that comes back to affect us, and just kind of lies and deceits, and the happiness. It really is shown in spades in this movie. It really feels like Vargas, the director, really understands how to portray that on screen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this director does in the future. Once again, having it on a single location shows that horror films can be wide open affairs. It can be single shot affairs. It can be enclosed affairs. There is so much versatility in this genre that a lot of genres don't get to do. And like I said, you can make a really cheap horror film, or you can make a really expensive horror film and have it be unique in its own right. So I think this movie, though it does kind of borrow a lot of elements from a Sam Raimi film or a film of that nature, I think it does its own thing, and I think it does it really well. I enjoyed this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It'll be in theaters, and I'm sure VOD very soon. I recommend, especially if you're a big horror fan that loves these types of films, I recommend Rosario with spades. But it is very disgusting. It is very graphic, and it might be a little horrifying for some. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that'll be my take on Rosario. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What's your favorite type of body horror / Sam Raimi inspired type of horror film with a lot of graphic violence and stuff like that? Let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on the channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. As always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.